Hello, good afternoon, and good morning. I'm LaKendra Tooks, and it's time for Tooks Takes. Woo! Y'all, we got a bit, as always, it's always a big show around here. We got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about the Real Housewives of Orange County. We got to talk about the Real Housewives of Miami. We have to talk about me. You know, we got to talk about me, y'all. We got to talk about what's going on in my life, in my world. When it comes to dating right now, for me, I'm like Linkin Park because I've become so numb. But you know what? You know what keeps me going? Bravo. Bravo. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for Bravo. Thank you, Lord, for these shows, these crazy delusional women. They keep me going. And I think if we're having a contest, who's the most delusional? The Miami ladies are pretty delusional. The OC ladies are a little delusional sometimes too. So we're going to switch it up a little bit today. We're going to begin with the Real Housewives of OC because guess what? I just watched it. So it's fresh on my mind. So let's talk about the Real Housewives of Orange County because as we remember last week, we ended on a cliffhanger. We ended on Tamra running away and posting a cryptic Instagram about how she's quitting the show. Enough is enough. I'm quitting the show. Nothing tells me you're full of it more than you posting it on Instagram. That's when I know, especially if it's a story. If it's a story and it's not even main grid, I'm not falling for it. And we're not falling for you right now, Tamra. So the ladies are still there. They're just still trying to enjoy their trip. They're all just like, what the heck just happened? You know, she was drunk. And sometimes you want to blame it on the alcohol. Sometimes you want to blame it on the Xanax. And it's like, yes, alcohol, Xanax, these substances, they can definitely make you act a little bit crazy. But at a particular age and stage of life, you can't really use that as an excuse. You can't really blame the alcohol. So with Tamra, the ladies are just fed up. And y'all know I am such a flip-flopper because how many times have I said, Gina, you don't belong here. But now I think Gina is earning her spot because Gina's the one that's like, no, Tamra, it's not right, Tamra. We can't do this anymore, Tamra. Your behavior's inappropriate. Bam. It needed to be said. Let's talk about Kiki because Kiki is like the unofficial, 6th or 7th housewife right now. They are talking about her a lot. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, if I didn't mention it all. Because, as a lot of you know from the Ken's Day crew, her and I both used to work on Reality Checked. And as you all well know, it was me, her, and Dorinda. They got rid of me and they kept the other two, which felt amazing for me. I love that. But here's the thing. I know that a lot of people might think I know her. I really don't know her. And that's not me trying to be like Mariah Carey. I don't know her. I don't know her. We never really bonded. So if we had bonded and we were friends, she'd be here right now and we'd be talking about it. But we never really bonded. Like when her and I, and this has nothing to do with the Real Housewives of Orange County. This is just me telling you guys about my experience. When we were both working at Reality Checked, we only ever hosted together, I think maybe twice. So I've literally only met this girl like 4 or 5 times, like literally a handful of times have I ever actually met her in real life. Now, girls, you know what I'm talking about. When you start a new job, especially Black girls or girls of color, like say if you're Asian and you see you're the only 2 Asian people at the job, you're probably going to look across the room and be like, hey girl, let's bond, because we're the only 2 here. And I know for me as a Black girl, there's been so many instances in my life where I've shown up and I'm the only Black girl. So if I show up and I'm the only Black girl, but no, I see one more over there, I'm always like, hey girl. And sometimes you don't exactly get the hey girl back, which is fine because just because I'm a Black girl and you're a Black girl, that doesn't mean we're automatically gonna be friends. That doesn't mean we're automatically going to bond. So it's not a big deal. It's like, okay, I said hey girl, you didn't exactly give me a hey girl back, and that's okay. Life goes on because I know for me, I'm a lot, but I love that about me. So I don't intend to ever change. And for me, if I'm too much for anyone, great, leave me alone. Because, it's like, listen, there's people out there who don't like ice cream. You think ice cream's gonna quit being delicious just because some people don't like it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you just gotta do what you gotta do. But, however, it's like, girl, she is all over. Did you see next week she's going to have a sit down with Gretchen? Because we talked about the naked wasted thing last week. I posted about the naked wasted thing on my Instagram. We'll skip around a little bit, okay? Because y'all know on the OC, everybody's blonde. So that's why we just do the highlights, because everybody's blonde. And, I just want to get a little highlights. Just do my highlights, okay? So anyway, the girls are still in New Orleans and they're having a good time. They're trying all the different food. They're trying the charbroiled oysters. If you've ever been to New Orleans, you gotta have the charbroiled oysters. They're so good. Even Heather was eating. Solids. I gotta take back everything I said. Heather's eating solids now. That's amazing. Good for you, bro. But let me say this too. I was even proud of Heather, because even Heather, y'all know, because I get mad at Heather because I feel like she's always going to bat for Tamra. But I felt like even Heather was like, Tamra, what's going on, girl? Why are you behaving this way? And so the other ladies, they're just like, it's the aftermath of like, we're all here on a girls trip. One of our friends just ran away and, is threatening to quit the show. So life has to just go on. It's like, we're in New Orleans. Like, I'm not going to not eat my etouffee and beignets just because somebody else decided to leave. I'm here. I still want to have a good time. I still want to eat oysters. I still want to go on the alligator ride. And okay, let's talk about the alligators real quick, because y'all know I know a thing or two about alligators because I'm from Florida. I'm from Florida and Georgia. I went to University of Florida, home of the Gators. Go Gators. Blue, orange. So I do know a thing or two about gators. And also, I don't know if y'all know this about me. Y'all know I'm a military kid. So I lived all over the place. I used to live in Louisiana as well. My baby brother was actually born in Lake Charles, Louisiana. If we have any Lake Charles, Louisiana listeners, because I know that's a tiny town, but we might have some Lake Charles people in the Kins Day crew and on Team Took. So I know a thing or two about the gators. Now, my girl Gina is real nervous about these gators. She doesn't like swampy waters. She doesn't like the creepy crawlies. She doesn't like that. And I feel that. But also I'm looking at Gina like, girl, you gotta chill. Do you really think this alligator tour company would still be in business if they were letting people get eaten alive by the alligators? I'm like, girl, chill. She needs to chill. Shannon needs to chill. Because, and y'all, I love Shannon, but she gets on my nerves sometimes. But I do feel like I have some similarities to Shannon, which when I see Shannon do things sometimes, and I'm like, oh God, I do that sometimes. I got to work on myself, because I get it when you're trying to get ready and you have a little anxiety. I have some anxiety every time I'm trying to get ready because I want to look good. How's my outfit? How's my makeup? How's my hair? Is my dog okay? Is everything okay? Is the living room looking cute just in case, my friends want to come over afterwards or something like that. So I'm always worried about things before I leave the house. So Shannon's like, ever since I had the DUI, sometimes I get these anxiety attacks, and I get it. But Gina's like, look, girl, I'm over here really having an anxiety attack because I'm scared of the gators, all right? I'm scared of alligators. So the alligator tour guide tells the ladies, alligators are notorious for being deadbeat dads. And then the camera pans to Gretchen because, as we well know, her baby daddy, Slade, has been accused of being a deadbeat dad. So Emily in her confession was like, Tamra, next time you want to call Slade a deadbeat dad, just call him a gator. So that's what we're going to do from now on out, y'all. Whenever someone's a deadbeat dad, we're just going to be like, ooh, he a gator. He a gator. Oh, y'all. Don't F with him. He a gator. So that's how we're doing it now. No more deadbeat dads. Just gators. So anyway, it's time for the ladies to head back to Orange County. I want to talk about Tamra's therapy session real quick, because I feel like Tamra is sitting down with her therapist. Now, first of all, if it's a therapy session that's being, recorded for an episode of a reality TV, I'm already giving it as much, like, all the side eye I got, because it's like, if you're really serious about therapy, you're not doing your therapy in front of a camera, But what we see is, I don't think Tamra's telling this therapist the whole truth. Tamra's with the therapist trying to paint herself as the victim, and she's blaming, oh, my father abandoned me and we had this and we had that. And I get it. Yes, things that happen to us in our childhood affect us, but you can't use it as an excuse when you're 55 years old. And you're just being a bitch on TV. And you're so worried about your daughter. Oh, then my daughter abandoned me. If you really cared, get off the show and go fix things with your daughter. Get off the show and go fix yourself, which Tamra has had time. Because as we all know, she was off the show for a few seasons. And I don't know, at least from what I'm seeing on my TV, I don't see that much change has happened. And let me also, I can't remember, y'all forgive me, because y'all know I do be hitting my vape. So my memory is not always the best. So forgive me if I've already told this story of Tamra apparently, allegedly complaining to Andy Cohen about me during my time hosting Ken's Day. Back when I used to host Ken's Day on Reality Checked, we had it was a live show. We had callers call in, and so I like to go in on the Housewives. I'm not super interested, and if I ever did, I don't know, I can't imagine a world where I really become friends with the housewife that's currently on the show. But if I did, I'd be like, listen, girl, we could be friends, but if you do something stupid, I'm gonna talk about you and I'm gonna drag you on Took Stakes. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all. No, I really love dragging Tamra because I don't like her and I think she's really mean and nasty. So I give it right back. Whatever she gives, whatever you give me, I'm going to give it right back. So I was making fun of her. I was making fun of her terrible, stupid, ugly son. And so one of the callers called in, and I think she called Alexis Jesus Jugs. I think she might have called her a whore, which, we can't control what people say when they called in. And so somebody called in, said that. I said, we laughed about it, blah, 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 blah. Everything's cool. Certainly did not get reprimanded. Didn't, my bosses, the powers that be, they never came to me and said, LaKendra, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. But so then somebody called in the following week and was like, LaKendra, Tamra's talking about you on her podcast. She said that she reached out to Andy and Andy said he's taking care of it. So they said that to me on the show. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got a little bit nervous because I'm like, I don't want to upset Andy because at the time he's my boss. So I DM'd him and I just said, hey, Andy, I'm so sorry if, whatever I'm saying on Ken's Day is causing you any grief with the housewives. He got back to me and he said, essentially, it's a fine line because I work with the housewives and you talk about the housewives, which is your job, and you're doing a good job. So keep killing it. That's essentially, and I do have the screenshots if we need them. That's essentially what Andy said to me. So I went back to doing my job as I always do my job, So, and also I never really, I don't think I've said anything bad about Tamra. I don't think I've said anything that's not true, because I know when she was on another podcast talking about me, saying that I called her a POS. I don't even talk like that. I don't call people a piece of S. I don't even talk like that. I might say that I might have said she's a bad mom. That's probably the worst thing I've said about her, but I think that, most would agree, Anyway, let's also talk about, while we're talking about moms, let's talk about Emily and Shane, because again, my heart goes out to Emily and Shane because they're dealing with this with their son. They're trying to figure it out. He's got an eating disorder. He could be autistic. Emily feels really bad about it. And it seems like the little boy, I believe it's Luke. She's got the twin boys, Luke and Keller. Luke is the one that's dealing with the issues right now. And it seems to me like Luke is a mama's boy, which is very, very sweet. I look forward to having a son because I want him to be a mama's boy. And so when Emily was on the trip in New Orleans, Luke is calling her, texting her quite a bit. And Shane's like, well, you know what? He was fine when you weren't here. And Emily was having a little bit of mom guilt about being on the trip while her son was going through whatever he's going through. And honestly, I'm not a mom yet. Well, I am a mom to a dog, but for all you moms out there, I know you feel mom guilt sometimes. Of course you're going to feel it. You want everything to be perfect. You want everything to be right. But guess what? You're allowed to take a girl's trip. You're allowed to leave them kids at home with their daddy. Because guess what? If you married a good man, your baby daddy is not a gator. So he is fine. He's like, baby, go on the trip. Enjoy yourself. So I want to shout out to all the moms. You don't need to feel any mom guilt, okay? You do a lot for these children. And baby, if you need a few days away with the girls to just kick back, relax, drink, and eat beignets, you deserve it. So Emily, you get on my nerves and I don't like you sometimes. And I hate your confessional look. Y'all know the one I'm talking about with the little spaghetti straps and the weird little, and then she's got her hair up. It's not a good look, Emily. You're a beautiful girl, but that's not a good look. You don't always nail the look. I've had some looks that I didn't necessarily nail. So I'm not, well, I guess I am judging, huh? I'm judging a little bit. Speaking of interview looks, I've been seeing a lot of scuttlebutt online about Gretchen's interview look. People are saying she looks like, if she was a drag name, her name would be JonBenet Rossi. I love Gretchen's interview look with the little hair flipped up and the little pink and the little headband. I love it. I think it looks adorable, Gretchen. You keep dressing up like JonBenet Rossi because I like it, girl. I like the pinks and pearls. Anyway, back to Emily and Shane. You know, they're having this conversation on camera. I can tell Shane does not want to be having this conversation on camera about his son and what his son is going through. And I can feel the frustration. And I never thought I'd be saying I'm Team Shane. I'm Team Shane. And we've said this before, and I'm saying this as somebody who has not yet had children, but I'm still a woman and I may not be a mother yet, but I still have a very maternal intuition and instincts. And sometimes you got to say, I got to get the cameras out of here so that I can see what's going on with my baby, so that I can get everything together with my baby. I don't love that Emily's using it for a storyline. On one hand, I do think it's good to be raising awareness because I never heard of a little kid having an eating disorder. I never knew that there were eating disorders that are tied to autism. I never knew that. So on one hand, she's educating us a little bit, which is good. But at the same time, I'm like, girl, I don't like you putting your kid on blast like this. I don't really like that. Emily, besides this, what else is going on in your life? You know, same with Tamra. Like, I hate that Tamra is using Teddy's cancer as a storyline. I hate it. Let's get back to Naked Wasted because there's all this back and forth. Now, I'm getting confused. I'm like, who's lying? Because Katie is like, I never told Kiki that Gretchen told me that she got roofied and had to go to the hospital. I never told Kiki that. And the girls are like, why don't you just call Kiki right now? And every time they put Katie on the spot like that, she doesn't do it. Now, for me personally, if I know I'm telling the truth and all I got to do is make a quick little phone call, I won't make that phone call. I will make that phone call on camera. I will text. I will do whatever I got to do. But it sounded like maybe, well, then Katie was saying, well, Kiki will just lie. I'm like, I don't know, Katie. Like, you have a reputation of being a liar. Is Katie a liar? Because I know, and y'all, last week I went to bat for Katie. Katie Janella, I went to bat for you, okay? Because I was wondering what's going on here. Is it something about her being the only, Asian girl on the cast? And now I don't know, because I've been seeing some other scuttlebutt online. And if you have the internet, I'm sure you've been seeing it too. Where now I'm looking at Katie like, what's really going on? Like, Katie wants to be famous, which anybody that gets on Housewives right now, yeah, they want to be famous. It's like, I'm not, is Katie a clout chaser? Yes. But who isn't? Everybody's a clout chaser. I probably am a little bit too. I probably need to be more of a clout chaser. I need to be trying to chase some more clout because this is what you got to do these days. You got to get that following. You got to have those numbers. You got to get your reach. You got to do the algorithm and blah, 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 blah. So it turns us all into clout chasers, whether we want to be or not. So Katie's trying to be famous. Katie, as we know, she has a background as a reporter, but she was working at the Golf Channel. So, I mean, I don't know. My daddy is a big golfer. And I was like, Daddy, do you know Katie Janella? He said he does not. So I'm like, okay, Katie, I don't know what was going on at the Golf Channel, but what I do know is that if things were going amazingly at the Golf Channel, and if you were this amazing reporter / host, you wouldn't really care about getting on the Real Housewives because you'd be booked and working and doing your thing. So I saw a podcast clip where this publicist that Katie was trying to get to work with her, and Katie's telling him, I want to be on Good Morning America. I want to do this and I want to do that. And that guy was telling her, like, girl, you were at the Golf Channel. You ain't ready for Good Morning America. And I mean, now, is Katie ready for Good Morning America? I don't know. I don't work at Good Morning America. I can't say. From what I see of Katie, do I find her to be like, you know, when I think of like a host, especially Good Morning America, like a morning show host, couldn't y'all see me on Good Morning America? Because I'm so Good Morning America. You know, I don't really see Katie being like, good morning. You know, I don't really get that vibe from her. I feel like Katie would do well. She seems like she'd do well maybe like at CNN, like on the headline news or something like that. Like she'd be like, there was a 72-pile car crash on the interstate. I could see Katie doing that, you know. But should I go ahead on and manifest? Let me manifest. Let me pray. Hallelujah, Lord. I'm going to be on Good Morning America. Can't y'all see it? Hey, Jenna Bush Hager. Back to you in the studio, Jenna Bush Hager. I'm ready, baby. Katie's not ready. She doesn't have the personality. You got to have the personality. She doesn't really have that personality. But on the Naked Wasted tip, now, who's lying? Because Katie went to dinner, her and her husband, Matt, they went to dinner with Gretchen and Slade and Jen and Ryan. So apparently at this dinner, they talk about the Naked Wasted night. And Katie says that Gretchen says she believes she was drugged and she went to the hospital the next day. But the next day after that dinner, apparently Slade, Gretchen's baby daddy, Gretchen's gator, calls Katie and says, look, you can't talk about that. Don't mention that Gretchen went to the hospital. So now I'm just like, who's lying? And guess what? Next week we're going to find out. Because call Maury Povich. Because we're hooking him up to the lie detector. We're hooking him up to the lie detector. And we're going to find out who's telling the truth. And then even Kiki's going to have a sit down with Gretchen. Okay, girl, that's good. To have to sign an NDA and film on the Housewives, that's a big step for people like us, people that are on this end of the Housewives Bravo spectrum. Let me tell you, if they call me, I'm going to be there with my bells on. Y'all already know I'm going to be there with my bells on. So I don't blame her. Like, look, you do what you got to do to get your name out there. So girl, good for you. You are getting your name out there. I need them to start mentioning LaKendra Tooks on the Housewives. Start mentioning Tooks Takes. I need to start. You know what? We're going to get Tooks Takes mentioned on the Housewives show. We're going to get that mentioned. Oh, maybe Tamra will mention and be like, she's always being mean to me. I have abandonment issues. Guess what, Tamra? Abandon the show. How about that? While you're talking about your abandonment issues, abandon yourself from us because we're sick and tired of you. Her quitting the show was just an idle threat. But listen, we're going to be watching next week because I need to know. I am confused. I don't know who to believe. I don't know who's lying. We need the lie detector and we need a Bible. We need a pastor. We need somebody who can really, maybe we need an investigator. We need to put them in a little room with a pitcher of water and that little double-sided window so that we could really get down to the truth. Who's telling the truth and who's lying? We're going to find out next week. And hey, Kiki girl, good for you. Getting a shout out on the Housewives, girl. Good for you, girl. Now, let's move on to the Real Housewives of Miami. So the girls are still in Seville. And last week ended with Lisa's boyfriend, Precious Moments Eyes Jody, sending Larsa a barrage of texts. And what did the texts say? Now, I don't know exactly what all the texts say. We get a little bit of what the texts say because Larsa makes it sound like it was really bad and we don't know. And I want to know because I need to know everything because we get a little excerpt, but from Larsa's phone, it looks like Jody is really texting a lot. And you know what else? These housewives don't know how to pronounce texts because Larsa says, Jody texts me. It's just texts. Texts. He texts. Me. But I want to see them all. I want to see the receipts. They give us just this little tiny snippet. I want it all. Now, the snippet they give us, Jody says, Larsa, stop. I don't want this fight, all right? You can't point at the sky and tell me it's not blue. Yes, Larsa can. Larsa will pee on your leg and tell you it's raining. But poor Lisa's got other problems. Bigger fish to fry, bigger barracudas to fry. She's got to get a notary public because she's got to sign some documents, and she's only got 1 hour to do it. And Alexia's like, I don't believe she only has an hour. And Adriana's like, well, what if leave Todd out of this? Whoa, barracuda? Relax. Barracuda said, keep Todd's name out your mouth. And someone posted this, and I agree. Why does Alexia need a trip to get over Todd when she's still effing him? She's still wearing her wedding ring. And also, Larsa, I like you, girl, but what's up with you telling people to go sit in the corner? Go sit over there. Like, Lisa's got a lot of problems going on. And Larsa spilled the beans on Lisa. She's even complaining about having a yeast infection. Like, whoa, someone get this girl a yogurt. And Lisa has been taking notes. And I got to tell you something. I like it. I don't know why the girls are so concerned about the notes. Please take notes on me because I be forgetting what I be saying. Take notes. Record me. Shannon, what are you so mad about? Record me. I'll tell my friend, record me because I forget what I even said. Record me, post it on TikTok. I have nothing to hide. Probably something I said when I wasn't even thinking that the camera was on me. Something I said off the cuff will probably go viral. So yes, record me. So Lisa ruined that dinner. That's dinner number 1 that got ruined. So then the next day, the ladies split off into 2 groups. Group 1 goes to see the beautiful city of Sevilla and all the beautiful architecture. And the other group goes to paint tiles. Okay. Stephanie's like, I'm not very artistic, but I doodle. I doodle while I'm in meetings. I doodle. Stephanie loves to remind us that she's a business woman. And then Julia says, now y'all remember Julia and Martina, they just adopted these 2 adorable little boys. Julia says, oh, the other day, Jackson decided to paint on my truck with a rock. Do kids do this, y'all? Now, y'all know I don't have kids yet. So I don't know. I mean, I do remember maybe like we might have written on the wall with a crayon. But y'all know how we were back in the day. Now, I never wrote on the walls. I think my brother wrote on the walls a little bit. I never wrote on the walls because my mother put the fear of God in me the moment I came out of her womb. So I was afraid to do anything. But I have never heard of a child taking a rock and writing all over somebody's vehicle. I never heard of this, but I said, I bet that little boy is writing, help, SOS, CPS, come save us. Also, how does your child get to write on your car with a rock? Are you not keeping an eye on the child? I don't know. Y'all know I'm worried about these children. Now, as the other ladies are on their little tour of seeing the beautiful sights of Sevilla, Adriana is an amazing tour guide. As we know, she studied art history, so she knows her stuff. Adriana, you're a fascinating woman. I like you. The next time I go to Miami, I'm calling Adriana, okay? And so the next day, now, back in Spain, the ladies are planning to take this trip to, I believe it's called Marbella. Julia has friends there. And she says, I'm going to ask them to be the godfather to my boys. She said her boys need a male figure in their life. And I'm like, do they need a male figure who lives all the way in Spain? Well, I'm sure their male figures who live all the way in Spain will be super involved in their lives. So they're taking Stephanie's plane. And I'm telling y'all, Stephanie dangles that dang jet in front of the girls like a carrot. We get it, Stephanie. You're rich. You have Birkins for your Birkins. You got private jets. You're married to an old man. You go to a lot of meetings. Girl, shut up. Would you be here if you weren't rich? That's the question I want to know. Because is being rich the most interesting thing about you? If being rich is the most interesting thing about you, I hate to break it to you, baby, you are not that interesting. And so then Stephanie's looking at Larsa like, Larsa, do you want Lisa on the flight? And then we find out that the flight is a 22-minute flight. A 22-minute flight. Y'all, shut up. I could do anything for 22 minutes. And they're making a little seating chart. They want to put my girl Gertie in the back of the bus of the private plane. Not cool. No, I will take a Spirit flight in the middle seat before I allow anyone to put me in the back of the bus of the private plane. Now, as the girls are getting ready for dinner that night, everybody has a glam squad except Adriana and Gertie. And then Adriana's like, I need you to do my makeup. And Gertie's like, I'm not a makeup artist. And I only have makeup that works for me, my beautiful melanated skin. And Adriana's like, don't worry. I like myself. I like to make it dark. I like to be dark. Gertie's like, okay. Now let me tell you, every girl's trip I take, I'm the makeup artist. I'm the hairstylist. I'm the image architect. I LaKendrafy all my friends. But I love to do it because let me tell y'all something. After I LaKendrafy people, they look good. I LaKendrafy my friends. I said, y'all just get your basic stuff on. I'll do the rest. I like a lot of highlight under the eye. I like to contour the nose a little bit because I love my nostrils. I love my black girl nostrils. So I like a bold brow. I do like the eyes to pop with like eyeliner. I like a little bit of eyeshadow, not too much. Eyeliner, lash, pop. I like the blush to be showing. I'm not really into looking natural. The LaKendrafication process is not natural. Sometimes I meet these guys on the dating apps or whatever, and they're like, oh, I don't like girls that wear makeup. I like you to be natural. I'm like, then don't date me because I like my makeup. Now, can I go out natural? Absolutely. I love my natural hair. I look great without makeup, but I look even better with it. So when I'm going out, I like to be like, bam, but that's just me. So listen, if you ever take a girl's trip with me, I will LaKendrafy you. And baby, you will look good. We can make anybody look good over here at Tooks & Co. Maybe that's another side hustle for me, my beauty business. Oh, one of these days I'll be LaKendrafying the world. Now, as the other girls are painting their tiles, Alexia tells a story about how she was once, when she used to live in Spain, she was engaged to a Spanish guy whose grandfather was the president of PepsiCo. But then instead, she married and had babies with a convict. And now she's over here making a tile for Todd Barracuda. Come on, girl. Pull it together. She just doesn't, I don't know. Her man picking ability is just not very good. So now we got to talk about Lisa taking these notes, okay? Because Marisol's like, Monkey, you got to put your phone in a basket. But at least, now this episode, at least Lisa finally unfollows Marcus. So Lisa tells the girls. She tells Gertie, Kiki, and Adriana, don't tell Larsa or the other girls that I unfollowed Marcus because I don't want Larsa thinking she could tell me what to do. And I don't want her thinking I just did it because she told me to do it. So they pinky promise. Apparently, Adriana wasn't paying attention to that part. Adriana says, oh, sorry, y'all. I was just looking at the birds because as soon as they get to dinner, Adriana spills the beans, okay? Now, keep in mind, Lisa is late to dinner. Late Lisa. She's a late bird. She's late. So she's late to dinner. And Adriana spills the beans. And as soon as Lisa finally shows up to dinner an hour late, Kiki spills the beans about Adriana spilling the beans. And then Adriana tells Kiki, stop being so ratchet. And then Kiki says, you're too old to be talking like that. So it's tit for tat at this point. You call me ratchet, I'm calling you old. Now let's keep in mind, y'all, ratchet does mean ghetto. Like in the lexicon of urban dictionaries of today, if you call somebody ratchet, you're basically calling them ghetto. And this starts this big thing back and forth, okay? It's like they're just trying to have a lovely dinner. This is yet another dinner that's been ruined, and Stephanie can't take it anymore. Also, can we talk about, I know that I've probably talked about Stephanie's fashion decisions before. I feel like Stephanie dresses like a spoiled rich teenage girl who got a hold of her daddy's credit card and said, this is what the rich girlies wear. And it's like, girl, I mean, it might be, expensive couture, but it's just not working on you, Stephanie. All these looks, I don't know why she's not able to pull it off. Maybe it's because she's so short and She's short and a little boxy. Not boxy like in her body. I think she's got kind of a square head. She's kind of like Stephanie Squarehead. So Stephanie's pissed. Stephanie storms out of the dinner. Adriana tries to follow her, and Stephanie's like, no, you're not coming with me. And then that's when they come up with this little seating chart for the private plane. Marisol doesn't like it. And I can tell you, I don't like it either. Like, I get it, Stephanie. You're rich. Congratulations. But no. I don't like it. I don't like her dangling this private plane in front of people. Like, if I had a friend like that who's trying to dangle her private plane in front of me, I'd be like, girl, please, I don't want your private plane. Girl, I don't need that private plane. And yeah, I don't like it, Stephanie. But anyway, it looks like they're going to have fun on the private plane next week. And the previews we get for next week's show, it looks like all this private plane and seating charts and who's going to sit where and do what. It looks like they really party up for those little 22 minutes on that flight. So we will see. Now, y'all know we can never end Took's Takes without my Took's takeaway. And my Took's takeaway for today, well, it's more of a little bit of a thought, a question. Should I quit drinking? And listen, I know sobriety is in right now. Here's my problem with alcohol right now is that I get drunk faster than I used to, and it takes absolutely nothing for me to be hungover. I will drink, like back in the day, I could just glug, 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 and I was fine. But now if I have 3 drinks, I'm a wreck the next day. So I was kind of making a little pros and cons list. The pros of me stopping drinking, well, first of all, I'll lose weight. Because everybody knows that. Once you quit drinking, you instantly lose like 15 pounds. But listen, y'all, we got to get ready to get out of here. I love you all so much. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the support. We are growing, baby. Make sure you follow me on all the social media platforms because I'm a clout chaser. I'm chasing clout. So follow me at LaKendra Tooks, at Tooks Takes. Leave a review. Subscribe to the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Subscribe to the YouTube. Please keep supporting us because we are growing. We are on our way to becoming the #1 podcast in the world. And as always, I hope and pray that my light helps you find your light and you shine so bright. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.